Look at yourself in the mirror right now and ask a question that matters more than anything else. How long are you going to let people define your limits, your potential, your life? How long are you going to stand there waiting for permission, validation, or approval from people who don't believe in you? People who have never walked in your shoes. People who are too small to even imagine what you're capable of. Right now, at this very moment, you have a choice that will define the rest of your life. You can keep listening to the voices of doubt, the whispers of fear, the chains of expectation that everyone else has placed on you. Or you can rise, stand tall, and say, I will prove them wrong. This is not about being louder than them, about shouting over their criticism, or about seeking revenge. This is about becoming so relentless, so unstoppable, and so disciplined that your very existence becomes the answer to every doubt, every insult, every laugh, and every single person who thought you couldn't. Think about every time someone told you that you weren't good enough, that your dream was too big, that your goals were impossible. Every time you were ignored, underestimated, or dismissed, those moments were not setbacks. They were fuel. Fuel for the fire that is burning inside of you right now. And if you do not act, that fire will die, and with it, your chance to prove the world wrong. But if you harness it, if you channel it, if you commit with every ounce of energy you have, you can create a life that will not just surprise them, but silence them completely. This is your moment to step into the fight, to embrace the grind, to endure when others quit, and to rise every single time life tries to knock you down. Every struggle you faced, every challenge you've endured, every obstacle that made you question yourself is preparing you to prove not just them wrong, but to prove yourself right. Understand this, proving them wrong is not a one-time act. It is a relentless lifestyle. It is the relentless grind, the daily commitment, the refusal to settle, the refusal to give in to excuses, and the refusal to let temporary discomfort dictate permanent results. It is about showing up when no one is watching, grinding when no one else cares, and pushing past every doubt, every fear, every limitation, internal or external, that tells you that you cannot. This is about owning your mind, your actions, and your life. The fight begins in your head, and it continues in every choice you make, every step you take, and every moment you refuse to quit. By the end of this speech, you will understand something crucial. Proving them wrong is not just about success. It is about transformation. It is about becoming the person who is so disciplined, so focused, so determined that their results cannot be denied. It is about walking into the world, standing tall, and letting your life be the undeniable proof that no one gets to define your limits but you. So stay with me, listen carefully, internalize every word, because the moment you embrace what comes next, you are no longer living for approval. You are living to prove them wrong, and nothing will ever stop you again. Doubt is one of the most powerful forces you will ever encounter in your life, not because it is real or because it has power on its own, but because it is placed in your path by people who either cannot see your potential or are too afraid to reach their own. Every single person you meet, from the moment you take your first step toward a goal, will have an opinion about you. Some of those opinions will be encouraging, some neutral, but many, far too many, will be full of doubt. They will tell you that you're not capable, that you're not ready, that the dream you carry is too big for someone like you. They will look at your ambition, and instead of cheering you on, they will question your sanity. They will whisper and sometimes shout, "You can't do this." And the world has a way of making doubt seem larger than it actually is, magnifying it until it feels like a mountain you will never climb. But here's the truth that most people never understand. Their doubt is not your reality. Their skepticism is not your limitation. Their disbelief does not define your capability. In fact, every "you can't" thrown at you is not a chain to hold you back. It is fuel. Doubt exists outside of you. but the way you respond to it creates a fire inside you that no external voice can extinguish. When someone doubts you, the first reaction is usually frustration or anger, and that's natural. It is human to want to defend yourself, to want to argue, to want to prove people wrong immediately, but arguing with every doubter, trying to convince them of your vision with words alone is wasted energy. Doubt becomes powerful when it makes you question yourself, when it creeps in and tells you, maybe they are right, maybe you are not enough, maybe your dream is too big. This is where most people fail. They allow the doubt of others to settle inside them like an unwanted guest, slowly poisoning their confidence. But the people who rise, the ones who turn impossibility into reality, understand that doubt is only dangerous if they accept it as truth. They look at the naysayers and understand that those words are not a reflection of their ability, but a reflection of the fear, limitation, and lack of vision of the person speaking them. They understand that doubt is not a wall. It is a signal that they are heading somewhere that else can see yet. A signal that they are stepping into territory where the weak cannot follow. A signal that they are pushing past the comfort zone that has kept so many trapped in mediocrity. Doubt is not the enemy. In fact, it is one of the most honest indicators that you are on the right track. When you begin to embrace doubt rather than fear it, it changes everything. Imagine the energy you feel when someone tells you you can't do this versus the energy you feel when you decide, watch me. The first makes you question, the second makes you act. Doubt becomes a mirror reflecting not your weakness, but the opportunity for growth. It forces you to get uncomfortable, to stretch, to prove not to them, but to yourself that you are capable. Every successful person has faced doubt, not just from the outside world, but often from themselves. The internal voice of doubt is insidious, creeping in quietly, planting seeds of hesitation, whispering, what if you fail? It is subtle and cruel because it sounds like logic, but it is not. You cannot eliminate doubt completely, but you can transform it into a challenge, a daily reminder that the path you are on is not easy and nothing worth achieving ever is. Doubt is the natural resistance you meet when you try to elevate yourself beyond what others have known or achieved. The universe often tests your resolve not with ease, but with opposition. And doubt is the first and most relentless test of your commitment. The key to harnessing the power of doubt is perspective. When someone doubts you, when they shake their head, when they question your sanity for aiming high, you have a choice. You can absorb it and let it define you, or you can use it to ignite something inside you that cannot be ignored. Doubt becomes a magnet for your focus. You begin to see clearly who believes in you and who does not. And you begin to understand that their disbelief is not a barrier. It is a spotlight pointing you towards your destiny. When you carry a vision so vivid in your mind that it overshadows the doubt around you, it becomes unstoppable. You no longer need applause, validation, or approval because your conviction, your dedication, your relentless pursuit becomes the only truth you need. Doubt fuels obsession. Doubt demands excellence. And those who learn this secret do not just survive the doubt, they thrive because of it. The journey to turning doubt into power is not simple. It requires discipline, mental toughness, and the willingness to outwork the voices that say you can't. It means waking up every day with a sense of urgency, putting in the work when no one is watching, and refusing to give the doubters the satisfaction of seeing you quit or falter. It means building a mindset where the negative opinions of others bounce off you like bullets hitting a shield, and their disbelief fuels a fire that burns brighter than any obstacle. You learn to anticipate doubt, to welcome it even, because it is a sign that you are doing something meaningful. The more doubt you face, the more significant your mission. The louder the voices that tell you you will fail, the louder your determination must become. This is how ordinary people become extraordinary. This is how those who were written off by society rise to become leaders, innovators, champions, and legends. Finally, the power of doubt is ultimate when you realize that the person you are proving wrong is not only them, it is yourself too. The doubt that existed inside your mind, the fear that whispered you are not capable, that you are not ready, that you will fail, must be confronted and crushed daily. Every time you take a step forward in the face of skepticism, you silence a little of that inner doubt. Every time you rise batter a setback, you prove that external doubt has no dominion over your destiny. Doubt is unavoidable, but the power lies in how you respond. You can let it weaken you, or you can let it drive you, push you, mold you, and ultimately create a version of yourself so strong, so relentless, so unshakable that the world has no choice but to stand back and witness the reality you were always destined to create. When you embrace the power of doubt, when you turn every you can't into watch me, you stop living in the shadows of others' expectations and you start living in the light of your own undeniable greatness. Doubt is not your enemy. It is the spark that ignites the fire that will define your life. Your why is the heartbeat of everything you do. It is the invisible force that separates those who give up at the first sign of struggle from those who endure, persist, and conquer the impossible. Without a why, your actions are empty, your goals are fragile, and your potential remains locked away, unseen, and untapped. Everyone can work hard when life is easy, when the path is smooth, and the rewards are immediate. But the real test comes when you face resistance, when doors slam in your face, when people laugh at your dream and tell you it's too big. At that moment, your why becomes your weapon. It is the reason that you refuse to quit, the fire that fuels your relentless pursuit, the anchor that keeps you grounded when the storm rages. Your why is personal, intimate, and non-negotiable. It is not something anyone else can give you. It is not borrowed from a book or a seminar. Your why is born from your story, from the struggle you refuse to allow to define you, from the vision of the life you know is waiting on the other side of pain and sacrifice. The stronger your why, the sharper the weapon it becomes, cutting through fear, doubt, and distraction with precision. Scion. Most people live their lives reacting to circumstances, drifting through days, hoping for luck, hoping for opportunity, hoping someone will notice their potential. They have goals, yes, but those goals are fragile because they are not anchored in purpose. When the going gets tough, the why is missing. And so they quit, they give up, they settle for mediocrity. But when your why is crystal clear, quitting is no longer an option. When the nights are long, when your body aches from the work you've put in, when the world seems determined to break you, your why rises up, demanding that you move forward, that you fight harder, that you endure longer. Your why is not just motivation, it is a weapon of survival, of transformation, of domination. It is the thing that makes you do things others cannot, that makes you endure sacrifices others will not, that turns pain into progress and struggle into strategy. Without it, effort is wasted energy. With it, effort becomes unstoppable momentum. Your why is also deeply tied to vision. People talk about dreams, but a dream without a why is like a ship without a rudder. It drifts, vulnerable to every storm, at the mercy of every wave. Your why is your rudder, guiding your actions, giving clarity to your decisions, forcing alignment between what you say you want and what you are willing to do to get it. It is what allows you to wake up before dawn, train when your body is screaming, study when your mind wants rest, and keep grinding when everyone else is comfortable. Your why keeps your eyes on the prize, even when the path is steep, even when the doubters are loud, even when failure seems imminent. It becomes a lens through which you see every challenge as an opportunity, every setback as a lesson, every insult as fuel. The bigger and more personal your why, the more power it gives you to break through barriers, defy expectations, and achieve what others say is impossible. One of the greatest misconceptions about a why is that it is external, something tangible like money, recognition, or fame. These are distractions, not a true why. A real why digs deeper. It taps into your heart, your life story, the pain you refuse to let define you, the people you want to uplift, the legacy you want to leave behind. When your why is connected to something bigger than yourself, something eternal and unshakable, it transforms from motivation into obsession. Obsession is the weapon of champions. Obsession keeps you moving when motivation fades. Motivation is temporary. Obsession is eternal. Motivation gives you a push. Obsession gives you a pull that cannot be resisted. And your why is the origin of that obsession. It is the root of the relentless energy that forces you to take action no matter the circumstance, no matter the cost. Your why also protects you from distraction and influence. In a world full of noise, full of opinions, full of people trying to convince you to settle, your why acts as a shield. It allows you to ignore the naysayers, to stay focused on your path, to reject the allure of shortcuts and excuses. When you know why you are fighting, nothing external can sway you. You can endure ridicule, rejection, and failure because your why is bigger than any temporary discomfort. It is the quiet, powerful force that makes consistency easier than quitting, that makes discipline more natural than laziness, that turns struggle into a badge of honor rather than a reason to quit. And when life tests you, as it inevitably will, your why becomes your weapon in the most literal sense. The harder the test, the sharper the edge of your resolve. When people say you cannot, your why whispers, I will. When circumstances seem impossible, your why roars, I must. It transforms every obstacle into fuel, every challenge into a proving ground, every failure into a lesson. Your why makes you immune to temporary defeat because it connects you to permanent purpose. It is the reason you refuse to let anyone else define your limits. The reason you push past fear and fatigue. The reason you fight like your life depends on it. Because in many ways it does. Without a why, life is wandering. With a why, life is warfare. And you are armed to conquer. Finally, your why is not just for survival. It is for transformation. It is the force that turns ordinary people into extraordinary beings. It allows you to rise above circumstance, to become relentless, to endure hardship with courage, and to dominate challenges that others flee from. Your why shapes your mindset, fuels your ambition, guides your actions, and ultimately determines your destiny. The bigger your why, the more unstoppable you become. And the most important part is this. Your why is yours and yours alone. It cannot be taken from you. It cannot be measured by anyone else. It cannot be diluted by the doubt, the criticism, or the disbelief of the world. Your why is your weapon, your secret power, your hidden fuel that no one can see, but everyone will feel when you unleash it through relentless action. Guard it, strengthen it, connect with it, and let it drive you until there is no obstacle left that can stand in your way. Your why is the difference between giving up and going all in, between weakness and dominance, between dreaming and becoming. It is the weapon that transforms life, ignites destiny, and makes you unstoppable. Hustling in silence is one of the most misunderstood concepts in life. People think that to be seen is to succeed, that to announce your efforts is to prove your worth. They post progress, share struggles, and broadcast dreams before they have been tested. And in doing so, they trade action for attention. But attention without results is nothing. To hustle in silence is to understand that your work, your grind, your effort is sacred and powerful. And it only gains true value when it is executed consistently, relentlessly, and away from the eyes of those who doubt, those who judge, and those who do not understand the fire burning inside you. Silence is the ally of discipline, and action is the proof of intention. You do not need approval. You do not need applause. You do not need recognition to validate the sweat dripping from your brow or the hours you put in when no one else is awake. The world is full of people who want to watch but cannot endure the work. You become the person who understands that hustle is not for show. It is for results, and results speak louder than words ever could. The hardest battles in life are never fought in public. They are fought in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the moments when no one is watching, when your body screams and your mind begs for rest, when doubt whispers and temptation calls for you to quit. That is when true hustle occurs, in the quiet spaces, the unseen hours, the silent grind. To hustle in silence means to embrace discomfort, to lean into struggle without seeking validation, and to recognize that every small action compounds into the monumental success that the world will eventually witness. The people who shine in action are not the loudest in the room, not the ones whose results are undeniable, whose excellence cannot be ignored, and whose consistency becomes a testament to their dedication. It is in the unseen moments of relentless work that greatness is born. And those who understand this truth rise above mediocrity because they are willing to do what others won't, in a way others cannot. Hustling in silence also teaches patience and restraint in a culture that glorifies instant gratification, where social media demands constant updates and applause. The disciplined person knows that timing matters more than recognition. You cannot rush results by shouting about your effort. You accelerate them by focusing all your energy on the work itself. The louder you announce, the more you invite distraction, doubt, and judgment. The more you hustle quietly, the sharper your focus becomes, the cleaner your vision, and the more efficient your execution. Silence protects your energy, shields your ambition, and allows your craft to develop without interference. Every day, every hour, every minute you devote to your vision without distraction is an investment in results that will eventually speak so loudly that even the loudest naysayer cannot ignore it. Action is the natural result of silent hustle. It is the moment when the preparation, discipline, and relentless effort you have poured into your craft manifest into undeniable achievement. People who hustle quietly understand that shining is not about showing off. It is about delivering results that compel attention. When your work is impeccable, your success becomes unavoidable. You do not have to announce it, broadcast it, or seek validation. Your actions will speak for you. The louder your actions, the more credibility you earn. This is the beauty of silent hustle. The reward is authentic, the respect is earned, and the impact is undeniable. Those who seek attention before results often find themselves hollow, their applause fleeting, their influence temporary. Those who hustle in silence, however, become unstoppable because they understand that true power is born in preparation, not performance. Another key to hustling in silence is mental toughness. It takes courage to do the work every day without recognition, without the cheers of an audience, without anyone affirming that what you are doing matters. You have to master the discipline to show up even when no one notices, even when the temptation to quit is strongest, even when the path ahead is unclear. Silence tests you. It forces you to rely on your own conviction, to push yourself for reasons that cannot be externalized, to build a foundation so strong that when the world finally sees your results, there is no doubt that your success is real. It is forged in the shadows, tempered in solitude, and perfected in perseverance. To embrace this mindset is to understand that recognition is temporary, attention is fleeting, but excellence earned through quiet hustle and relentless action is permanent. Hustle in silence also creates authenticity. When your results emerge from years of unseen effort, people notice the difference. They can sense the depth of commitment, the consistency of work, and the sacrifices made in pursuit of excellence. Silent hustle builds respect because it is genuine. It is earned, not flaunted. Those who shine without noise demonstrate that success is not about perception, but reality. Not about talking about what you will do, but about doing what others thought impossible. every accolade, every recognition, every milestone becomes exponentially sweeter because it is the fruit of unseen effort, of quiet hours spent honing skill, of persistent energy focused solely on achieving results rather than seeking approval. This is the power of silent hustle. Your work becomes undeniable, your influence grows organically, and your success cannot be replicated by those who chase attention instead of mastery. The journey of hustling in silence also teaches humility. When you do not need constant affirmation or applause, you cultivate a quiet confidence that is unshakable. You stop comparing your progress to others. You stop seeking validation. You stop being distracted by envy, gossip, and the noise of the world. You learn to measure success, not by recognition, but by growth, effort, and progress. This is the mental shift that separates temporary performers from enduring achievers. Those who master silent hustle understand that the most important audience is not the world, but themselves. They hold themselves accountable to a standard higher than anyone else can demand, and they know that consistent action executed with precision will eventually bring undeniable results. Finally, to hustle in silence and shine in action is to understand timing and strategy. You are building, preparing, and perfecting while others are distracted, reactive, and impatient. You are positioning yourself to explode in performance when the time is right, ensuring that when the world sees you, there is no question of your capability. You allow the work to speak for itself, the results to command attention, and the impact to leave a lasting legacy. Every hour spent in quiet effort is multiplied in the moment of action. Every sacrifice becomes fuel for the shine that cannot be ignored. This is the ultimate lesson. Hustle quietly, live deliberately, work relentlessly, and when the time comes, shine so bright that no one can deny the power you have cultivated in silence. It is a strategy, a mindset, and a discipline that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results, turning unseen work into visible greatness, and creating a life defined not by noise, but by undeniable achievement. Failure is not a curse. Failure is not a stop sign. Failure is the raw, unfiltered feedback of life. A signal that you are trying, stretching, moving forward, and stepping into spaces where growth is inevitable. The moment you accept failure as a natural part of the journey, the moment you stop fearing it, the moment you stop running from it, you transform it from an obstacle into a launch pad. Most people fear failure because they view it as the end of the road, as proof that they are not good enough, that their dreams are too big, that they are destined to stay where they are. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is the process of becoming successful. Every setback, every mistake, every moment where things do not go according to plan is a step forward if you choose to learn, adapt, and continue. The world measures failure as a negative, but those who rise above the crowd understand that failure is actually a necessary, indispensable part of mastery. It is the teacher that cannot be ignored, the mirror that reflects truth, the tool that shapes greatness. When you fail, it is uncomfortable. There is no sugarcoating that. Failure brings humiliation, disappointment, and often the piercing doubt that you are not capable of what you set out to do. It is brutal. It makes you question your skill, your talent, your purpose. It pushes you to the edge, forces you to face your limitations, and reveals the depth of your commitment. Most people stop here. Most people retreat, hide, and convince themselves that failure is proof of inadequacy. But those who understand the power of failure do not allow it to define them. They allow it to refine them. Every misstep, every rejection, every moment of falling short is data. It is information. It is feedback from life itself telling you what works, what doesn't, what needs to change, and what must be strengthened. Failure is not final unless you make it final. To step forward after failure is the mark of the relentless, the committed, the unbreakable. The fear of failure is one of the biggest chains holding people back. It is why so many people never start, why so many dreams die before they have a chance to breathe, why so many potentials go unrealized. But when you shift your perspective, when you understand that failure is not a verdict, but a teacher, you gain freedom. You begin to move with courage, knowing that falling down does not make you weak. It makes you human. It makes you adaptable. It makes you stronger. It teaches resilience, patience, and humility. The more you fail, the more you learn, and the more you grow. The path to greatness is paved with failures. And those who refuse to take the step forward are the ones who remain in mediocrity, watching others rise because they were willing to endure the pain of falling, learn, and keep moving. Failure is also a test of mindset. It is easy to be motivated when everything is going right, when life hands you victories without resistance. The real test is how you respond when doors slam, when opportunities vanish, when the world seems to push you down at every turn. Those who understand that failure is a step forward do not crumble under pressure. They stand taller. They analyze, strategize, and return with more wisdom, more skill, and more determination than ever before. They know that every successful person, every pioneer, every champion has failed countless times. But what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary is the refusal to quit, the willingness to step forward even after pain, the courage to embrace the struggle as part of the process. Failure is not the enemy. It is the forge that creates strength, clarity, and resilience. Another critical element of failure is perspective. Many people judge themselves harshly for failing, as though a single mistake defines their entire potential. But failure is not a snapshot. It is a journey. It is a series of lessons wrapped in discomfort. And the value lies not in avoiding failure, but in how you respond to it. Every failure contains a seed of success, a hidden lesson, a blueprint for growth. The faster you extract that lesson, the quick, or you can pivot, adapt, and step forward. The people who embrace this truth move faster, grow stronger, and reach heights others only dream of. They understand that falling down is inevitable, but staying down is a choice. And the moment they get back up is the moment failure transforms into progress. Failure also builds humility. It forces you to confront your weaknesses, face your mistakes, and acknowledge that the journey to greatness is not linear. There is no shortcut. There is no instant mastery. The ones who are willing to endure failure, to absorb its lessons, and to continue moving forward, do so with a deeper understanding of themselves, of their craft, and of the world around them. Humility does not mean weakness. It means awareness, adaptability, and the courage to improve. Failure humbles you, but in humility, you find strength because you learn to take responsibility for your results, to act with intention, and to rise with purpose. Failure is also a test of patience and endurance. The world rewards consistency and persistence, not perfection. To step forward after failing is to practice endurance in its purest form. It is to trust that the accumulation of effort, learning, and resilience will eventually yield the results you seek. Each failure becomes a stepping stone, each setback a lesson, each mistake a mentor. The person who gives up after failing is blind to the power they hold to transform defeat into destiny. The person who steps forward sees failure not as an end, but as a compass pointing the way to mastery, to growth, to achievement that is earned, not handed out. Ultimately, failure is about ownership. It is about taking control of your journey, refusing to blame circumstance, refusing to allow a temporary setback to dictate your life. It is about understanding that the world will not hand you success. It will not validate your dreams. It will not fight for you. You are the architect of your destiny, and failure is simply part of the construction process. Those who step forward again and again in the face of failure are the ones who build something lasting, meaningful, and extraordinary. Failure is not to be feared. It is to be embraced, studied, and conquered. It is a step forward because every fall carries within it the potential for a rise greater than anything that preceded it. Those who understand this truth do not flinch in the face of defeat. They use it as fuel. They take the lessons, strengthen their strategy, sharpen their skills, and move again with relentless purpose. Every failure, every stumble, every setback is simply another step on the ladder to greatness. And those who keep climbing will eventually reach the heights that once seemed impossible. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the path to it. And stepping forward in the face of it is the defining action that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the dreamers from the doers, and the ones who watch from the sidelines, from the ones who rise to create a legacy that cannot be ignored. Consistency is the ultimate differentiator between those who dream and those who achieve, between people who talk about greatness and those who live it, between the ordinary and the extraordinary. Talent is overrated, skill is limited, and motivation is fleeting. But consistency, unwavering, relentless daily commitment is the engine that drives success. Most people want results without the routine. They want the glory without the grind, and they want transformation without the discipline. They search for shortcuts, quick fixes, and instant wins. And when those do not appear, they quit, make excuses, and blame circumstances. But those who understand the power of consistency know that every small repeated action seed compounds into massive results over time. Consistency is not about perfection. It is about showing up, doing the work, and refusing to let excuses dictate your day, your mindset, or your future. It is a declaration that your dreams are non-negotiable, that no temporary discomfort, distraction, or hardship can prevent you from progressing, and that the life you desire will be earned through action, not wishful thinking. Excuses are the enemy of progress. They are the voice of fear, laziness, and self-doubt masquerading as reason. People make excuses because consistency is hard, because showing up every day when no one is watching is uncomfortable, and because results are often delayed. Excuses provide temporary relief, but permanent stagnation. They convince you that you are justified in not giving your best, in not pushing harder, in not enduring longer, and in not taking the action necessary to create your desired life. Excuses are seductive because they feel good in the moment, but they steal your future, your potential, and your ability to rise above mediocrity. Those who succeed do not make excuses. They find solutions. They create systems. They honor their commitment to themselves, regardless of circumstances, emotions, or temporary setbacks. They understand that the world does not reward intention. It rewards action, sustained action, and repeated excellence. Consistency over excuses is also about mindset. It is about developing an internal standard that cannot be shaken by distraction, comfort, or temptation. It is about building a life where showing up, doing the work, and pushing forward becomes non-negotiable. The person who prioritizes consistency does not wait for motivation, inspiration, or external validation. They act because their vision, their goals, and their future demand it. They understand that greatness is not achieved in bursts of energy or moments of enthusiasm. It is forged in the daily grind, the repeated effort, the unwavering commitment to progress, and the refusal to be derailed by excuses. Excuses are the whispers of weakness, and consistency is the roar of strength. Choosing consistency every day, no matter how small the step, is choosing victory over stagnation, progress over procrastination, and action over passivity. Consistency also transforms struggle into mastery. Every skill, every habit, every goal is developed over time through repeated practice. The person who consistently puts in effort grows stronger, sharper, and more capable each day. Repetition is the engine of improvement, and excellence cannot exist without it. Those who fail to remain consistent often give up when the initial thrill fades, when results are slow, or when challenges appear too difficult. But the one who chooses consistency over excuses keeps moving, keeps learning, and keeps improving. They embrace the grind, endure the discomfort, and accept that meaningful progress is rarely immediate. Over time, the compounding effect of consistent action transforms them into someone unstoppable, someone extraordinary, someone who achieves not because of luck, but because of relentless, repeated effort. One of the greatest tests of consistency is endurance. Showing up when you feel motivated is easy. Showing up when you feel tired, discouraged, or overwhelmed separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Consistency requires discipline, resilience, and a vision strong enough to override temporary feelings. It is about creating routines and habits so ingrained that action becomes almost automatic, a part of your identity rather than a forced effort. When you make consistency a lifestyle, excuses lose their power because you are no longer reliant on fleeting energy, external praise, or circumstances to dictate your actions. You move, you act, and you persevere because this is who you have become. Consistency shapes identity, and identity drives destiny. Consistency over excuses is also about accountability. To consistently do the work, you must hold yourself responsible for your actions, your progress, and your results. You cannot blame circumstances, people, or luck for the path you are on. The moment you accept full responsibility, excuses become irrelevant. You understand that showing up every day, regardless of how you feel, is the only way to create lasting impact, achieve your goals, and honor the vision you carry. Excuses are temporary. Accountability is permanent. Consistency builds character, fortitude, and trust in yourself. And that trust is essential for achieving the kind of success that withstands challenges, setbacks, and the doubt of others. Another powerful aspect of consistency is momentum. Every action you take compounds over time. Small efforts, when repeated daily, create habits that shape your life. Consistency turns ordinary people into extraordinary ones because it creates unstoppable energy. Each day of effort becomes a building block for the next, and eventually the results you sought are no longer a possibility. They are inevitable. Excuses interrupt this flow, stopping momentum before it can build, while consistency ensures that every day, every effort, and every decision pushes you closer to your ultimate vision. Momentum does not rely on chance. It relies on discipline, repetition. Finally, consistency over excuses is the ultimate weapon for proving yourself and achieving mastery in any area of life. It is the reason why some people accomplish extraordinary feats while others watch from the sidelines. It is the reason why dreams are realized, goals are achieved, and legacies are built. Consistency makes you resilient, unstoppable, and dominant because it ensures that no temporary discomfort, no moment of doubt, no external challenge can derail your path. By choosing action over excuses, every single day, you become a force that cannot be ignored. You create results that demand attention, influence that commands respect, and a life that reflects relentless dedication and unwavering commitment. Excuses may offer temporary relief, but consistency delivers permanent results. Consistency is the backbone of greatness, the foundation of discipline, and the engine of unstoppable success. And it is available to anyone who refuses to compromise, anyone who refuses to quit, and anyone willing to show up every day, no matter what. The voice in your head is the most powerful force you will ever encounter, and yet it is also the most overlooked. It is the constant companion that never sleeps, the whisper that never pauses, the narrative that shapes your perception of yourself, your world, and your potential. The truth is this: no matter how loud the doubt around you, no matter how many people question your abilities, no matter how often the world says you cannot, the voice you carry inside is the ultimate determinant of your success or failure. It is where victory begins, and it is where defeat often takes root. That inner voice, the one that talks to you when no one else is around, can either be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. It can lift you to heights unimaginable, or it can chain you to mediocrity. It matters because everything you do in life, from the smallest action to the largest decision, begins in your mind. If your mind is aligned, your actions will follow. If your mind is poisoned, your efforts will be sabotaged, even if the external circumstances are favorable. Most people underestimate the impact of their inner voice because it is subtle, quiet, and personal. Unlike external critics, your inner voice cannot be ignored. It cannot be blamed on someone else. It is always present, always observing, and always influencing. When you face challenges, when life pushes back, when failure threatens to paralyze you, the first words you hear are not from others, they are from you. And the way you respond internally determines whether you push forward or retreat. A negative voice tells you you are not good enough, that you do not deserve it, that you will fail. A positive, disciplined, empowered voice reminds you of your strength, your purpose, and your ability to overcome. This is why mastering your internal dialogue is not optional. It is essential. Success is less about what people say about you and more about what you say to yourself every day, every hour, every moment. The challenge is that your voice is often contaminated by external noise, the doubts of others, societal expectations, failures from the past, and insecurities you carry like weights, all influence the way you speak to yourself. People will tell you that you cannot, that you are not ready, that you do not have what it takes. And if you allow those words to seep into your mind unchecked, your inner voice begins to echo them. Soon, you are not fighting the world. You are fighting yourself. You are listening to a narrative of defeat, telling yourself that the dream is too big, that the goal is impossible, that you will never measure up. But here is the critical truth. Your inner voice is under your control. You can choose to cultivate it, train it, and weaponize it in your favor. The people who succeed against the odds do not just work hard externally, they dominate internally. They create a voice that refuses to accept limits, that refuses to accept excuses, and that refuses to allow anyone, including themselves, to undermine their potential. Your inner voice becomes your compass in moments of uncertainty. Life will test you in ways that are unpredictable. And when you feel fear, doubt, or hesitation, it is your internal dialogue that either paralyzes you or propels you forward. The strongest, most successful people in history all share one trait. They have cultivated an internal voice that is unwavering, disciplined, and unshakable. It is the voice that tells them to push harder when others rest, to rise after failure, to endure when the odds seem insurmountable. It is not blind optimism. It is brutal, honest, and fierce self-command. It is the voice that transforms pain into power, struggle into strategy, and doubt into determination. When this voice is strong, external negativity loses its ability to control you. Because the most influential opinion in your life is no longer the world, it is you. Controlling your voice is not about ignoring reality or pretending challenges do not exist. It is about reframing reality in a way that empowers you rather than defeats you. The inner voice is a filter through which you interpret every experience. If you allow it to dwell on fear, limitation, and regret, every setback becomes evidence that you cannot succeed. But if you train your voice to focus on solutions, resilience, and possibility, every obstacle becomes an opportunity. Every failure becomes a lesson, and every challenge becomes a proving ground. This requires discipline and repetition. You must catch the negative thoughts as they arise, confront them, and replace them with the narrative that serves your growth. It is like training a muscle. The stronger and more consistent your practice, the more dominant the voice becomes in shaping your reality. The inner voice also shapes your confidence and courage. Confidence is not a superficial feeling. It is a deep-seated belief that you can handle whatever comes your way. That belief is built internally through the voice you cultivate in silence. When you hear a why, spare of doubt, you immediately counter it with truth. I am capable. I am ready. I will endure. I will overcome. Over time, this internal dialogue builds a foundation of unshakable confidence that allows you to take risks, pursue bold goals, and act decisively. The voice in your head is where courage is born, where fear is confronted, and where resilience is strengthened. If this voice is weak or filled with negativity, your courage will falter, your actions will waver, and your potential will be limited. If it is strong, disciplined, and empowered, no external force can hold you back. Your inner voice also dictates how you respond to failure. When things do not go according to plan, when setbacks strike, it is your internal narrative that determines whether you rise or collapse. A positive, disciplined voice says, this is a lesson. I will learn. I will grow. I will get up. A weak voice says, I am not enough. I will never recover. I cannot succeed. The difference is everything. One voice creates momentum and growth. The other creates stagnation and self-doubt. To win in life, you must cultivate the voice that insists on rising, that refuses to accept mediocrity, and that commands relentless action regardless of circumstances. Ultimately, the voice in your head matters because it controls your reality before reality even happens. You cannot always control circumstances, other people, or external events, but you can control the internal narrative that interprets and responds to them. When your inner voice is disciplined, empowered, and relentless, you become unstoppable. You walk into every challenge with clarity, courage, and conviction. You persist when others quit. You work when others rest. You rise when others fall. That voice becomes your greatest weapon, your ultimate ally, and the most consistent source of power you have. The people who achieve extraordinary success are not necessarily the most talented or fortunate. They are the ones whose internal dialogue refuses to accept limits, refuses to quit, no matter the obstacles in their path. The moment you take ownership of your inner voice, the moment you decide that your thoughts will serve you rather than sabotage you, is the moment your life begins to change. It is the moment doubt loses its grip, fear loses its power, and excuses lose their hold. Your voice becomes the foundation upon which you build every action, every decision, and every victory. And when this voice is strong, consistent, and disciplined, the external world cannot stop you, because the most powerful force in your life, the one that shapes your decisions, your habits, and your destiny, resides not in the people around you, not in your circumstances, but within you. Legacy is not given. Legacy is not promised. Legacy is not measured by your words, your intentions, or he applause of the crowd. Legacy is forged in the fire of struggle, in the trenches of perseverance, and in the relentless pursuit of purpose, often when no one is watching. Every great life that history remembers, every individual who left a mark on the world, every person who inspired generations built their legacy not during moments of ease, comfort, or convenience, but in the fight. The fight is not just external, it is internal, mental, emotional, and physical. It is the daily battle against doubt, fear, distraction, and the urge to quit. It is the refusal to allow circumstances, critics, or setbacks to define the trajectory of your life. Your legacy is the sum of every choice you make, every action you take, and every battle you endure when the odds are stacked against you. It is a reflection of your resilience, your courage, and your unyielding commitment to something greater than yourself. The fight begins long before recognition arrives. Most people want to be remembered, to leave a mark, and to achieve greatness, but they are unwilling to pay the price of the struggle. They want the legacy without the fight, the results without the sacrifice, the respect without the grind. But this is impossible. True legacy is earned in the grind, in the sweat, in the tears, in the moments when no one else believes in you. and when the world doubts your potential. It is built when you push beyond your limits, when you show up every day with relentless determination, when you continue to take action despite fear, pain, and adversity. Legacy is not the trophy. It is the work, the courage, and the endurance that precedes it. Every small battle, every act of perseverance, every refusal to quit adds to the foundation of a life that will be remembered. The fight is not glamorous. It is not convenient. It is uncomfortable, exhausting, and often lonely. It requires discipline, sacrifice, and a willingness to endure pain without immediate reward. Most people stop when it becomes hard. They give in to the voice of doubt, the temptation of comfort, and the illusion that ease equals success. But those who are determined to leave a legacy embrace the fight as part of their identity. They understand that the struggle is the proving ground, the workshop where character is forged, and the crucible where purpose becomes tangible. Every obstacle, every challenge, every setback is an opportunity to prove yourself, to grow stronger, and to build a foundation that will outlast time. The fight is not optional. It is mandatory for those who want to leave a mark that cannot be erased. Legacy is also built in the choices you make when no one is watching. It is the commitment to do the right thing, even when it is hard. It is the discipline to act with integrity, courage, and relentless effort, even in the absence of recognition or reward. People often assume that legacy is measured by the applause of others, by fame, or by status. But true legacy is measured by the consistency of your actions, the strength of your character, and the impact you have on the lives around you. It is invisible in the moment, but becomes undeniable over time. Every choice you make during the fight, every challenge you endure, every sacrifice you commit to quietly compounds into a life that others will admire, respect, and remember. The fight also requires resilience. Life will push back. Challenges will arise that test your willpower, your focus, and your commitment. Critics will doubt you, circumstances will challenge you, and failure will confront you. In these moments, your legacy is being written. Every time you rise after a setback, every time you persevere despite rejection, every time you choose action over inaction, your legacy strengthens. The people who achieve extraordinary influence and impact are not those who avoided struggle. They are the ones who endured it, learned from it, and leveraged it to propel themselves forward. The fight is the catalyst that separates those who are remembered from those who are forgotten. Legacy is also about influence. It is about the impact you have on the people around you, the lives you touch, and the example you set. The fight is not just about personal triumph. It is about demonstrating courage, resilience, and determination in a way that inspires others to rise above their own challenges. Every time you overcome an obstacle, you teach someone else the value of persistence. Every time you refuse to quit, you provide a roadmap for others to follow. Your fight becomes a beacon, and your legacy becomes a story that motivates, empowers, and transforms lives. Legacy is never just about you. It is about the ripple effect of the strength you display, the courage you embody, and the determination you refuse to compromise. To build a legacy, you must embrace discomfort. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. The fight is rarely easy, and legacy is rarely created in comfort zones. It is in the moments of extreme challenge that your true character emerges. When you push through fatigue, doubt, and fear, when you continue grinding while others rest, when you refuse to settle for mediocrity, that is when your legacy is forged. Every sacrifice, every struggle, every act of resilience builds the story of a life worth remembering. Comfort creates temporary satisfaction. The fight creates permanent significance. Another critical aspect of building legacy in the fight is consistency. One act of courage, one moment of perseverance, one isolated victory is not enough. Legacy is cumulative. It is built day by day, decision by decision, and action by action. It is the product of repeated commitment, unyielding focus, and relentless discipline. Every small choice to push forward, to show up, And to endure is a brick in the foundation of the legacy you leave behind. Those who understand this principle do not chase short-term validation. They pursue long-term impact. They are relentless in the fight because they know that the greatness they seek is the product of sustained effort, not isolated effort. Finally, legacy is built in the fight because it requires vision. You must see beyond immediate struggles, beyond temporary setbacks, and beyond the opinions of those who cannot imagine your potential. You must hold a clear picture of the life you want to create, the impact you want to have, and the standard you will uphold. That vision fuels the fight, strengthens your resolve, and provides direction when the path is unclear. Every fight you endure becomes purposeful, and every obstacle you overcome becomes meaningful in the context of the legacy you are building. Vision transforms struggle from meaningless suffering into strategic, meaningful effort that contributes to the story of your life. Ultimately, legacy is not an accident. It is not the result of luck or circumstance. It is the product of the fight, of the relentless effort, of the courage to endure when others quit, and of the discipline to act with integrity, focus, and purpose. The life you leave behind is the sum of every challenge you overcame, every obstacle you conquered, every moment you refused to compromise, and every action you took in the face of resistance. Legacy is built in the fight because the fight reveals the strength, resilience, and determination that define greatness. Those who endure, persevere, and refuse to quit create lives that inspire, transform, and endure long after they are gone. To fight is to live with purpose. To fight with discipline is to build a legacy that cannot be erased. And to fight with courage and vision is to ensure that your name, your story, and your impact will be remembered forever. Listen to me right now, because this is where everything you've heard comes together. Every word, every idea, every principle I've shared is meaningless if you do not act. Proving them wrong is not a moment, it is a lifestyle. It is a commitment to yourself that no one else can dictate, no one else can control, and no one else can take away. You've been doubted, you've been ignored, you've been underestimated. People have laughed at your dreams, questioned your ability, and tried to convince you that you are not capable. But here's the truth. Their doubt is not your reality. Their opinion is not your measurement. Their disbelief is not your limitation. What matters is what you do when no one is watching, when it's hard, when it feels like giving up is easier than moving forward. That is when you define who you really are. That is when you prove them wrong. Every day you wake up, you have a choice. You can let excuses control you, or you can take control of your own story. You can let failure stop you, or you can use failure as fuel to step forward stronger than you were yesterday. You can let negativity and doubt shape your mind, or you can dominate your inner voice, telling yourself you are capable, relentless, and unstoppable. You can chase approval and applause, or you can hustle in silence, sharpening your skills, building your strength, and letting your results speak for themselves. Everything you need to prove them wrong is already inside of you. It has been there all along. The question is, will you unleash it, or will you stay quiet, safe, and average? Understand this. Success is not about luck. It's not about timing, and it's not about who believes in you. It's about what you do consistently every single day when no one else is looking. It's about showing up, grinding, enduring, learning, and fighting, even when it hurts, even when it seems impossible, and even when the world doubts you. Every step forward is a step toward your legacy. Every act of courage is a statement that you refuse to be defined by their doubts, by their limits, by their expectations. Your fight is the fire that forges your greatness, and your consistency is the hammer that builds it. Remember, the people who truly succeed are not the ones who had the easiest path. They are the ones who refused to quit, who endured the struggle, who embraced the grind, who turned pain into purpose, and who rose when everyone else expected them to fall. This is your moment. This is your chance to take every insult, every doubt, every setback, and transform it into fuel. To prove them wrong is not about revenge. It's about becoming the strongest, most disciplined, most relentless version of yourself. The world will notice when you are unshakable, unstoppable, and undeniable. So stand up, take action, commit to your vision, dominate your mind, endure the struggle, build your legacy. And when they see what you have become, when they witness the unstoppable force of your effort, your discipline, and your relentless pursuit of greatness, they will know that doubting you was their biggest mistake. Prove them wrong, not just for a day, not just for a moment, but for the rest of your life. This is your time, your fight, your legacy. Step forward and leave them speechless.